Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Archie's Briefings. I'm your host, Arshel Branch, and today, you guys, we're going to talk about the LA fires and the potential crisis that we're seeing with the homeowners insurance. I don't think just in the state of California. I think this is going to be a bigger conversation for the national stage, but specifically as it relates to California, we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to speak to the Democrat reaction to these fires because I'm a bit taken back by their responses. They're not responding nearly the same ways that they would have responded if this had been a Republican state. If this had been a conservative state, there would have been major outrage to all the things that could have been done that wasn't done to prevent this crisis. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Before we go ahead and do that, I want you guys to take the time to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video, share this video, especially share this one because I am going to be sharing some information about what individuals, what citizens can be doing if they're in the state of California to find out if they have coverage. And so I definitely want you guys to share this video just so that way, if there are people in California who see this video, they have an idea of what they can do. If they're not watching the mainstream media, then they have an idea of what they could do with that. So let's go ahead, you guys, without any further ado, let's go ahead and let's just dive into the episode, shall we?
There is something that has been on my heart that I did want to discuss. Discipline is a huge part of being productive, being lucrative. I'm not for anything that goes against true productivity, true sovereignty of the individual. The choices that we make are what's going to be up for judgment.
Okay, you guys, welcome back. So as I was saying in the opening of this show, we're going to start paying attention to what is going on with these fires, what could have been done to prevent this crisis, and some of the additional crises that are on their way, specifically as it relates to the homeowners insurance. There's a lot here, you guys, and I'm kind of astounded by the Democrat reaction. So first things first, let's talk about these fires. I've heard that the reasons for why these fires have started is because of the mismanagement of the state, that when you have the heat and those crazy winds and mismanagement of the state itself, this is how the embers were flying through at 40 to 80 miles per hour and starting all these fires almost simultaneously in the state of California. Now, there are things that could have been done to prevent this outcome. And, for a state that has had major wildfires this year, I think one happened last year as well. I mean, last year, March, come on. Last year, there was a fire. How many wildfires happened under Gavin Newsom that, frankly, had you just managed your state better, made sure that your first responders and your firefighters had the resources they needed to prevent this crisis? What actions could have been taken and specifically weren't because of your ridiculous priorities? Okay, Gavin Newsom wants to spend his time protecting fish rather than protecting his citizens.
What?
And that's absolutely ridiculous to me. Jasmine Crockett goes on CNN, and when you have a conservative gentleman, say to you that it's because the priorities of the leadership of the state was focused on DEI and woke ideologies rather than making sure that those who serve and protect the community have what they need to serve and protect, that's not what happened here. So before I go any further, I'm going to show you the clip. I'm sure you've seen it a million times, but I just have to show it, parts of it, just so we can get my take on what's going on with Jasmine Crockett in this particular back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to run that clip for you guys.
You might have recall a news story from last year. There was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California. And the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters. And we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters.
Okay, let's be clear. First of all, this is not the first time you've ever heard a conservative talk about why woke ideology and DEI is problematic. Okay, we've been talking about this for quite some time now. Okay, we've been talking about this when it comes to airplanes, the military, policing. We have been having these conversations about DEI for quite a period of time now. So you should not be outraged or shocked every single time you hear a conservative say those things. Let's go ahead and let Jasmine Crockett say what she's got to say.
And yet, I'm wondering now, if your house was burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters
you
are?
can respond and then
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is Black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong.
Okay, I can't even do it anymore. Yo, people, I can't. She irritates me. She just annoys me. She annoys me. She's so ratchet. You can hear in her voice. Okay, it's like the Valley Girl upspeak. This is, the ratchetness. Okay, I can't take it. I can't. It's annoying. It was there when she was at the DNC convention. It was there every time she does the Congress hearings. It's there every interview. She's just ratchet, and it bothers me. And I don't care who gets in the comments and say, "Oh, Rochelle, that's so disrespectful." I don't care if it's disrespectful. She's ratchet. Fix your tone. It's automatically disrespectful. But look at where your priorities are. Oh, no, you're saying that people who built this country, I don't give two craps who built this country right now when California is on fire, okay? You can tell me all of that when everybody's safe, okay? When California is not burning, then talk to me about who built the White House, okay? And the fact that that was even her focus is ridiculous. I mean, you're focusing on DEI and making sure women get these jobs. Oh, because the most educated are Black women. Okay, I got a problem with that statistic. I don't believe that statistic at all. I just don't. Frankly, I think Asians at the top. I think whites are after Asians. Hispanics may even come after white Americans, and Blacks are at the bottom. I mean, that's just what it is across the board, gender-wise. When you look at race, okay, Asians are at the top, then whites, then Hispanics, then Blacks. This is just the case, okay? Don't be mad at me. Those are just the facts. I got a problem with that statistic, number one. Number two, her priority is making sure that people of color get these positions, but you're not thinking about what really matters here. What did he say? And when you go further into that interview, I stopped it, obviously, because it bothers me. She bothers me. It's that we're focusing on the wrong damn thing. Newsom wants to focus on saving fish. She wants to focus on DEI.
And they're going crazy. They're going crazy.
I mean, at some point, we're going to have to get to the realization that your priorities are the reasons for why your citizens in California are suffering the way that they are suffering. This fire was 100% avoidable from all the things that I've been hearing. This was avoidable. Even Hollywood Democrats are looking for the resignation of Gavin Newsom. If Democrats are looking for resignation, President Trump is looking for resignations, conservatives are looking for resignations. It seems to me that we are united that Newsom and Mayor Bass should resign because she's in Africa doing her own thing while her city burns. Newsom's priorities are making sure minorities feel safe and that fish are getting protected over making sure that the citizens of the state get the actual protection that they need. And that takes us into the insurance problems, okay? Because California has been having insurance issues for quite a bit of time now, okay? It's not like it's just homeowners insurance. We saw last year because of the crime that car insurance was thinking about leaving the state if they haven't already. There's been a huge issue. I think even Patrick Bet-David covered this, the insurance problems. It was about 4 months ago. So obviously last year, there have been huge issues that the insurance companies have been posing to the insurance commissioner, an elected position, I might add. That person has to be voted in, making it very clear, these are the reasons why we're pulling coverage. These are the reasons for why we're leaving the state. How many homes lost their opportunity of coverage simply because they are in a danger zone? Okay, I'm going to show you guys a clip of, it's from, I think it's the Washington Post. They do talk about State Farm and other insurance companies. I'm going to pull that clip up right now just so you guys can see what I'm speaking to before I go any further. Let's go ahead and let's do that, shall we?
State Farm canceled hundreds of homeowners' insurance policies for residents in many of the same areas in the path of the Southern California wildfires. The insurance company's reasoning for canceling policies for people living in Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles County was due to concerns about the increased frequency and magnitude of wildfires in the state. The decision was announced in March, claiming it would cancel 72,000 property policies in California, 30,000 of which were home insurance policies.
Okay, so that's enough of that because I don't want to take too much time on the episode today. But exactly, right? They were warned months ago. The state, the insurance commissioner, they were warned months ago that the reason why your citizens are losing coverage is simply because they are in the wake of a potential wildfire. So this video came out a day ago, okay? It came out a day ago. And that should tell you something. That should tell you something. So months ago, the state was made aware that these are the problems, that the reason why we're pulling insurance coverage is because the people who live in these homes are in the wake of a potential wildfire, and you haven't done anything to minimize that risk. What can the state do to minimize the risk? Okay? You haven't done a damn thing about it. and you were made aware that this was going to happen from the insurance companies. And it's not fair to ask these companies to operate in your state at a loss every single time. They can't pay out all of these claims if it happens so damn frequently when we're supposed to be investing that money so that way they can earn the numbers that's required. When they file a claim, there's money to be made available to them. But if it happens so frequently that there's no time for them to earn what is necessary for the claim to be paid out, for the company to make a profit, well, then how does this work for anybody? Certainly doesn't work for me, the business owner, doesn't work for the consumer. And now premiums are going through the roof. The secondhand or last resort insurance plan is the FAIR plan, which premiums are ridiculously high. It doesn't cover certain damages like maybe water damage, doesn't cover vandalism or petty theft. I saw this in the documentary that ABC had put forward, like local news. Okay, I'm going to put that in the link because I do think it's important for people to understand what's going on with the homeowners insurance. Because again, it's something that is being seriously discussed because of the wildfire. It's not just happening in California, it's also happening in Colorado, another state prone to wildfires. Are you managing your states correctly? The left don't want to point the finger at the Democrats who run these states. You don't want to point the finger at the mismanagement. Is this criminal neglect? How many wildfires has happened under Gavin Newsom that nothing has been done? And now the people are losing their insurance policies because, well, the state doesn't do anything it can to protect its citizens, to minimize the risk. The state has to do more. And Biden wants to come out and say, I'm waiting for Congress, waiting for Congress. You're the president of the United States. You're the leader of the free world, the commander in chief of the strongest military or one of the strongest militaries in the world. And you're telling me you're waiting for the Congress to make a decision about how we're going to be helping these people. They've lost their insurance. Do they still have coverage? Does the insurance moratorium cover them what they need to rebuild? How are we going to solve the problem? How are we going to make sure this never happens again? If it's man-made and avoidable, what can we do to prevent it? How can we solve the issue of the insurance companies? Is that the conversation Jasmine Crockett wants to have? Absolutely not. Now, there's one more clip I want to show you guys of a young man who did an interview with Chris Cuomo. And I thought it was a fascinating interview because, you know, his reasoning of the whole situation. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run this clip. It's the last clip I'm going to show you guys because I do think it's important to see how people who are affected, victims of this wildfire, what they think about the situation, not just the fires, but the insurance problems as well. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run that clip now.
His parents who are disabled, the condo burnt down. They have no fire insurance, no home insurance. And I want you here for him, John, because you're going to know the situation better than I. Chad, I'm very sorry to hear about the situation. How are your parents doing? How are you holding up?
Thank you. I mean, I'm devastated. It's cliche to say that, but I'm angry. I'm sad. Regretful. I'm thankful. I'm angry because people like Bill Riley will say that you know, criminals are walking the streets of New York. The real criminals are the insurance companies. The insurance companies did not take care of anyone in our neighborhood. They do not have a history of taking care of people in that way. Insurance companies' claims are routinely denied. I don't frankly know how to begin to rebuild.
Okay, so you guys heard his concern. He thinks the insurance companies are evil. There are over 10, 15 insurance companies in the state of California, and I think I'm just minimizing it. I think it could be way more than that. And so I'm not quite convinced that something that has so many options in that particular marketplace, that every single last one of these insurance companies are the bad guys. I showed you earlier that State Farm had made it clear months ago, last year, March, that they were going to pull their coverage of people who lived in those areas because it was a high risk zone. If you live in a high risk area, you're not going to get fire coverage. You're not going to get homeowners insurance in that regard. And it's unfortunate. But again, it's because the state has done absolutely nothing to minimize the risk. Now, this young man doesn't care as to, you know, whether or not they're morally corrupt or if it's because the state's mismanagement. The fact is, for him, he lost his music equipment. He nearly lost his life. His condo, him and his family's condo are burnt down. He now has the responsibility of taking care of both of his disabled parents. No home. How are they going to be able to rebuild? What is FEMA going to be able to provide? And no real confidence there, considering when it came to the hurricane, they didn't really do very well. FEMA didn't do very well. And so these are the problems, okay? It's because of your priorities why this happened. Newsom wants to protect the environment, so he sacrifices security of his citizens for a fish, rather than making sure that the state had the resources it needed to make sure the fire hydrants actually had water in them. Where's your police department? Because when Sarah Michelle Gellar says, where is the police directing the traffic? That citizens are directing the traffic in the middle of a wildfire. Where is the police? Is it because of defunding the police? Your priorities have been so focused on the woke nonsense, okay, that you've driven business out of your state. And this relates specifically to the insurance issues. And I'm not the only one who noticed this. PBD noticed this. It's now a big part of the conversation. And California is not the only state that is suffering from homeowners insurance right now. It's also states like Colorado, okay? They also suffer from potential wildfires. Is the state doing anything to manage their areas? Or is the state doing anything to minimize the risk? What risk can the business owner, can the homeowner, can the individual, all the way up to the state government? What can we all do collectively to minimize the risk, making it more appealing to insurance companies to provide the coverage? Because if you're not going to do the work, then you shouldn't be in office. His entire state is burning right now, okay? James Woods, the actor, is saying it looks like Armageddon. People are losing their homes. People are not getting the coverage that they need. And whose fault is that?
Well, it sounds like it's all your fault.
Gavin and Mayor Bass, resign today, okay? Resign. Because you're not doing anybody any favors by staying in these positions thinking that you're helping when really all you've done is made it worse. Now, before I end this episode, I just want to provide some little tidbits of information of what is possible if you are someone from California and you're watching this. Check out the FAIR Plan, okay? It is a pool of insurance companies. The policy is not the most affordable. It is expensive. See if you are covered. If your policy did end, let's say even the week prior to the fires, you might still have coverage. There is a moratorium of insurance in the state of California, so you might still have coverage. If they ended it 4 months ago, 6 months ago, you're going to have to do the research to find out if you have that kind of coverage because, you know, the state has not been managed properly. Insurance companies have left. Unlike that young man, I'm not prepared to say that every insurance company in the state is morally corrupt. And so as consumers, as people who are interested in purchasing insurance, whether it's life, home, renters, car insurance, we're going to have to start asking questions that we didn't think we were going to have to ask. Can I get renter's insurance if I have a pit bull? Because some places, they won't give you renter's insurance if you have a pit bull. Am I going to get homeowner's insurance if I live in this zip code? And even if you cover me today, what steps can I take to minimize the risk to keep you from pulling it away? Or if you do pull it away, how much time do I have to protect myself in the event of a crisis if later down the line the state does something crazy? You know, these are not stupid questions. These are just questions that we didn't think to ask. It's not because we're stupid as consumers. It's because it just never occurred to us that we had to ask those questions. And clearly with mismanagement of state leaders, we're going to have to start asking questions that we didn't think we were going to have to. And it's unfortunate, but that's the society that we live in. These individuals just don't see themselves as a problem.
I'm the bad guy.
What can we do as consumers? What can we do as the Americans? What the conversation should look like? So thank you all again for watching. May our prayers be with the people of California and hope to God that they get what they need to look after themselves and to rebuild. I'm hoping that that is the case. I don't know if they can hang in there until Trump gets in there because obviously January 20th, it seems far away considering things are burning out there. You guys can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Definitely share this video because there's information towards the end that was very important to get out there about what coverage, how to find if you have coverage or not, what things you can do to see if you can actually get the claim filed. So definitely share this video. Thank you all again for watching. This episode went on a little longer than I expected because I'm a little riled up about this. As someone who is in insurance, it's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous to me. So again, that's all I had to say about that. Thank you all again for watching. God bless and Kepler.